Remember Steve Bannon, the white nationalist who helped put Donald Trump into the White House against all odds? Well, he's back, but this time in Europe, and he's got his eyes set on the Vatican.
He wants the Pope to change.
This institution needs change. Pope Francis should stop worrying about the criticism of Donald Trump.
Wait, what's going on? Turns out the man who brought the far right from the weird, creepy corners of the internet and into the mainstream is now trying to lead a far-right renaissance across Europe.
I just think there's real momentum on the populist, nationalist, sovereignty movement. I think people are coming to this cause.
Bannon, the man once called the Trump Whisperer, fell out with his old boss last year after he was quoted criticizing Donald Trump Jr. over Russian meetings. Trump wasn't too happy about that.
He used sloppy Steve Bannon, who cried when he got fired and begged for his job. Now sloppy Steve has been dumped like a dog by almost everyone. Too bad.
Suddenly out of a job and shunned even by his far-right website Breitbart, Bannon decided to take his talents across the Atlantic, where he'd be more appreciated. Last year, he packed up his things and moved to Italy, with a master plan to bring structure to the various right-wing movements across Europe. He was going to do that with a three-pronged strategy: the Poles, the youth, and the Pope. Yes, you heard that right, the Pope. But we'll get to that later. First up, the Poles. In mid-2018, Bannon joined a think tank called The Movement, set up by Belgian lawyer and far-right politician Michel Modriekeman. The two started working together on creating a network with other populist leaders around the continent, like France's Marine Le Pen and Italy's Matteo Salvini. The think tank planned to link up with 13 emerging far-right parties in 13 countries and help them win seats in the European Parliament.
The objective of the movement is obviously to try to unify the Eurosceptics parties, the grassroots movements that are flourishing all over Europe. It's also, of course, bringing tools and expertise from Mr. Bannon. He helped elect Mr. Trump as president against all odds.
But Bannon wasn't satisfied with just that. He wanted to impart his wisdom on the next generation and make sure Europe's future nationalistic ideologues were well-groomed. That brings us to the youth. Last year, he started renovating an apartment for himself in this 13th century monastery just outside Rome. Talk about prime Airbnb listing. He's going to be living here part of the year while turning the entire monastery into what he calls a gladiator school.
Are you not entertained?
The school, which is called, wait for it, the Academy for the Judeo-Christian West, is expected to take in 50 students a year and teach them the art of far-right politics and how to defend Christianity and Western values in Europe.
Are you not entertained?
Here's the founder of the school, Benjamin Harnwell, explaining the whole gladiator thing.
And as Steve himself says, when the gladiator went into that arena, he went in there with one single idea on his mind, was one totally focused idea, and that was to walk out of the arena at the end. And he says we need to take that total dedication, total concentration, and instill it within our side to defend our values.
So, a school for young, gifted white nationalists to take up the torch of Bannon's worldview and learn the discipline of gladiators in order to fight against refugee women and children? Guys, he's setting up the racist X-Men. And if that wasn't enough, Bannon is now trying to sow political upheaval at the Vatican and rallying a growing number of people unhappy with the liberal, multicultural approach of Pope Francis and its criticisms of far-right groups.
The Pope should, to me, stop focusing on free citizens and populist and nationalist and sovereignty movements that are trying to get their countries back and make their countries stronger. And he should start to focus on the metastasizing cancer in the Catholic Church.
Bannon says he opposes Pope Francis over his failure to address the growing sex abuse scandal. But sources say he's been encouraging the far right in Italy to go after the Vatican since 2016, telling Italy's now Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini to openly attack the Pope on his pro-immigrant, pro-refugee stance, something Salvini has been doing ever since. You know the gladiator school he's building? Its honorary president is a guy called Cardinal Raymond Burke, an American ultra-conservative bishop who's attacked Pope Francis repeatedly and all but called for him to resign. But it looks like things might not be going so smoothly for white power Professor X, A summit he organized to bring populists together from across Europe in January was postponed indefinitely after he couldn't generate enough interest. His think tank, The Movement, initially was supposed to provide polling for far-right parties across the continent. But election laws in most European countries bar outside groups from funding or assisting local parties. Even in Belgium, where the group's founder, Michel Modriekeman, is barred from using the group to support his own party, Parti Populaire. Bannon has also received lukewarm reception from the populist leaders he was hoping to court, like Marine Le Pen, who said she's wary of Bannon because he's not European. Others said they weren't following up with Bannon's offers of help. So while Le Pen's own far-right alliance is projected to win big at the European elections, it'll happen largely without Bannon's help. But despite all that, Steve Bannon's brand still holds weight. Germany's anti-immigrant AfD party invited Bannon to attend their annual conference this month. And Dutch anti-Muslim Member of Parliament Geert Wilders has long openly admired moves by the American to collaborate with the European far-right. And while his own summit may have failed, a day after he spoke with his favorite Italian race baiter, Matteo Salvini, Salvini announced he was hosting his own far-right meeting. So as Europe moves into a full month of local elections, in Italy, Spain and Belgium, and of course the European parliamentary vote, all of them contested by far-right parties, will Steve Bannon's schemes to spread his nationalist and anti-immigrant ideas work? Or will his European adventure fizzle out even before it's begun?